happened?
Tiene dinero, igual to the extremo, baby. This is the rhythm of the night. Toda la noche rompemos, al otro día volvemos. Tú sabes cómo lo hacemos, baby. This is the rhythm of the night. Nice like fuego, igual tiene dinero, igual to the extremo, 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 extremo. Ritmo. No son ni Reebok ni Sonai, mira, sin estilista luzco fly. La Rosalía me dice que luzco guay. No te lo niego porque yo sé lo que hay. Lo que se ve no se pregunta. Yo te pero tengo claro que es mi culpa. Como Canelo en el ring nadie me asusta. Vivo en mi oasis y la paz no me la tumba. Una matata como Timón y Pumba. Voy pa' leyenda así que dale zumba. Los dejo ciego con la vibra que me alumbra. Haters para la tumba, nosotros para la rumba. Toda la noche rompemos, al otro día volvemos. Tú sabes cómo lo hacemos, baby. Baby, nice like fuego. Mi body tiene dinero. Igual to the extremo, baby. Toda la noche rompemos, al otro día volvemos. Tú sabes cómo lo hacemos, baby. Baby, nice like fuego. Extremo, extremo, extremo. Ritmo. The rhythm, the rebel, styles upon styles upon styles, I got several. Wanna be wild cause I live like the dead devil. Live it up, hit 'em up, that's a scenario. Tupac, I get around like a merry-go rooftop. I am on top of the pedestal, flu shot. I am so sick, I need medical. I learned that shit down in Mexico.
It should be on the file. I registered it out of my app. The number, the email is B as in Bob, A as in Apple,
Hi, baby.
Baby, ya yo me enteré, se nota cuando me ve. Ahí donde no has llegado, sabes que yo te llevaré. Y dime qué quieres beber, es que tú eres mi bebé. Y de nosotros, ¿quién va a viajar si no nos dejamos ver? Yo sé, yo sé vulgar y cuando te lo quito, después te lo pari, las copas de vino, las libras de mari. Tú estás bien suelta, yo de safari, tú me ves el culo fenomenal, pa' yo devorarte como animal. Si no te has venido, yo te voy a esperar, en mi cama y lo voy a celebrar. Baby, a ti no me...
All right, good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing? Thumbs up if you can hear me. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Thumbs up if you can hear me. Some of you don't hear me or you don't want to raise your hand and say thumbs up. Okay, all right. Listen, we have a really exciting meeting today. We have lots of recognition. We have some late recognition, but nonetheless recognition that we need to give. I want to start off because this was just pointed out to me, and I have to apologize to both Ifra and William for this. I believe that we didn't actually announce this officially, so this has to be official today. Our Rookie of the Month for February 2021, the plaque has been ordered, okay, is for Mr. William Booth for actually writing in February $6,438 of net ALP. Great job, great performance. That leads us into our March announcement for Rookie of the Month and runner-up. And so just so you know, Rookie of the Month award is for the individuals that write $6,000 of net ALP or greater, provided you're here 6 months or less, okay? So you gotta be in the agency. Good job, Kenny. We got Kenny joining the meeting today. Look at Kenny. Kenny, look at Christine Moore there. That's Kenny. Right? You know, cool. We have, again, 6 months and prior, $6,000 net ALP or greater, okay? That's basically the requirement. So for the month of March, we not only have a Rookie of the Month, we have a runner-up as well. So let's start with the runner-up Rookie Award. This is for the second place that's been with us less than 6 months and wrote $6,000 net ALP or more. That goes to Lisa Huextra, runner-up rookie last month for writing $7,208 of net ALP for the month of March. Great job, Lisa. Solid month. We have a plaque order your way. And our Rookie of the Month last month, tremendous job. She had a promotion also. Both of these ladies actually had a promotion last month. Great job to Fariha Salman for writing $7,826 of net ALP and taking the Rookie of the Month award. Great job. Awesome work. Then we have our Agent of the Month, and we have some honorable mentions. So let me start off by the honorable mentions. These are individuals that had a solid month for the month of March and deserve further recognition. First of all, we got Mr. Josiah Williams. Josiah, where are you? Josiah. What? He not on the call? Man, that's okay. We'll still give him recognition. Josiah Williams for writing $6,218 of net ALP. Great job, Josiah. We got Akram for writing $7,706 of net ALP. Great job, Akram. We got Steven for writing $8,496 of net ALP. Great job, Steven. We got Ifra for writing $9,460 of net ALP. Great job, Ifra. We got Nung for writing $10,718 of net ALP. Great job, Nung. And I believe this is her personal best. In fact, I'm pretty sure this is her personal best. Great job to Elaine O'Neill for writing $15,957 of net ALP. Great job, Elaine. Solid month. Great job. And our Agent of the Month was Igram Shoggi for writing $17,770 of net ALP. Great job, Ikram. Solid work. We also got some anniversaries here, so let me announce these anniversaries. The first one, actually, they both got the announcement, but this is the official letter from the Home Office. So let me congratulate them one more time. I think we announced these a couple of weeks ago, but the actual gifts came from the home office. So here we go. We got a plaque. Isn't that cool? So congratulations on your 7th anniversary with American Income. It has been a wonderful relationship. You have truly become a part of the American Income Life family. I look forward to watching your continued success with our company. Best of luck to you in the coming year. Your awards, an American Income pen, and a devoted service plaque has been forwarded to your agency office for presentation. Sincerely, Steve Greer. Congratulations one more time, Christine Moore, for celebrating 7 years with American Income. Here's a beautiful plaque with a metal insignia of the Globe Life logo and American Income. Great job. Here's your plaque for pickup. We have another here. Congratulations on your 4th year with American Income. I'm excited to see you have found your niche in a career that can afford you limitless opportunities. You are a great asset to AIL. Your ability to envision a future with us and determination toward becoming a success has proven beneficial not only for you, but for the company as well. And we thank you. Best of luck to you in the coming year. Your anniversary award in American Income Life portfolio has been forwarded to your agency office for presentation. Congratulations, sincerely, Steve Greer, Chief Executive Officer. Once again, congratulations to Ifra on her 4th year anniversary. Congratulations, Ifra. Here is your portfolio and your letter from Stephen Greer. Congratulations. We have another anniversary here. Congratulations. Happy anniversary. It has been 2 years since you began your association with American Income. I trust you're beginning to experience all that AIL has to offer. You're rapidly becoming a veteran and a true professional, and you are more important to American Income than ever. Because of individuals like you, American Income continues to grow with each successive year. Congratulations on your 2nd anniversary, and I wish you continued and increasing success. Your anniversary award and American Income Life portfolio has been forwarded to your agency office for presentation. Sincerely, Steve Greer. Congratulations, Mr. Carlos Bocas, on your anniversary with American Income, 2 years with AIL. Great job, bud. Here's your portfolio. You're in the agency now, so you can pick it up anytime from my desk. So great job for those celebrating anniversaries. All right, folks, what's going to be happening today is we have a pretty busy agenda. At 12:30, we have a meeting with Mr. Mike Russin. He is a top RGA with American Income Life, and he's willing to spend some time with us, distilling some knowledge and information. I'm going to give credit to Stephen. He's got a relationship with him. I had never had the chance to meet with him, but I'm excited to actually listen to what he has to say and to learn from him. You know, anytime anyone in our company is willing to pour into our agency, we have to take this as an opportunity to learn more so we can do more, be more, and ultimately, of course, earn more. You know, so there's a tremendous opportunity today with Mr. Michael Russin. I looked at his numbers. They're absolutely phenomenal. Just to give you an idea, he's an RGA out of Pennsylvania, I believe, Stephen, Pennsylvania or West Virginia. Has an agency or a team writing probably $50,000 to $60,000 a week. And he's been with American Income again quite some time, working side by side with Simon Arias, which is one of the top leaders in this company. So anytime you have an opportunity to hear someone like him, you know, I'm just looking to see what can he add, you know, what value he can add to me by me just listening and learning from him, right? So that's happening today at 12:30. What we're going to do now is I want to discuss our closing ratios. I have some stats to share with everyone. And then we're going to go over the P&P report. The P&P report, those of you who don't have your P&P report, Claire is going to send out a sample so that you can actually look at it, right? A sample P&P report. It should have actually been done by now if you haven't received it yet. Claire sent it out. Good. We're going to go over the P&P report, and I'm going to share some stats with you as to where we are so far for the year. So the first thing is this. So far for the year, folks, we have done 1,882 presentations. So far for the year, BP Agencies has done 1,882 presentations. So far for the year, we have protected 577 families. That puts us at a 30.65% closing ratio. That is the number. Okay. So once again, 1,882 presentations, 577 sales for a 30.65% closing ratio. Now, what I've done further is, I've taken the time to actually break this down. And what I mean by that is I broke down the lead type, for every one of these lead types. So one is the ratios for every one of these lead types. So first of all, 28% of our business is now referral business. 28%. That is very important because that's a number that needs to get to 50%. We want to get to 50% referral business, but 28% of our number is referral business. Referrals have an average ALP per household of $1,151 of ALP. We did, so far for the year, we did 494 referral presentations. We had 158 sales for 32% closing on referrals. So 32% closing on referrals, okay? And they represent 28% of our business. Up next, we have union members. They represent 21% of our business, 21% of our business. The average ALP per household on union sales is 1,022. So 1,022 is the ALP per household. We did so far for the year 525 union presentations. We had 121 union sales for 23% closing. So this is interesting because the referral closing ratio is higher than the union closing ratio. So 23%. Can we increase that? Of course. I think that, too many of us are actually not following the actual system when it comes to how do we present to union households. Like, you need to have the letter and the reply card and the letter right at the start of the presentation, for the credibility factor to really build up there. The next is will kits. Will kits represent 15% of our business. We had, so far for the year, 440 will kit presentations, 84 sales for 20%, actually 20% closing on will kit sales. The will kit ALP per household is 1,016. So that's what we average. I think the real opportunity has been that there's been a lot of will kits that perhaps didn't purchase from us, but gave us referrals who ended up purchasing, and that's where there's always opportunity because, a lead is to be treated as a seed, a seed of opportunity so that you can actually then be able to see more people through that lead. And they once again represent 15% of our business, okay? Then we have POS. POS represents 36% of our business. POS, we did 415 POS presentations. We had 205 POS sales for 49% closing ratio on POS. Obviously, the highest closing ratio is POS. The average ALP per household on POS is 781. That's what we average on POS, 781. So again, folks, those are the numbers. I can tell you that, the first quarter is done. The first quarter of 2021 is done, obviously, and our agency has growth this quarter. So we have 4.71% growth over last quarter. Let me tell you what that really means to us. It means a lot because of the fact that last year, our best quarter was the first quarter. We've already beat last year's first quarter this quarter, okay? And what's even more important is that we have all the key indicators of our business pointing in the right direction. All of our key indicators, hires, production per new associate, codes, everything that we have is pointing in the right direction. So that leads us to one thing. 2021 will be an outstanding year for this agency force. The question you got to ask yourself is, what piece of the pie do I want for myself and my family? because all the key indicators are there. The only question you ought to ask yourself is, how big of a piece do I want for myself and my family? How much do I want for myself and my family out of this momentum this agency force is having? So it's an exciting time. We discussed in the managers meeting our numbers, and everything's pointing in the right direction, folks. And it's really, really exciting for us to see our team grow. We're currently, 39, 40 people on this call. I can tell you that by the end of the year, by the end of this year, we're going to double the size of this agency. There's going to be 80 people on our Monday call, and as we see these numbers, 1,882 presentations for the quarter, we're probably going to surpass 2,500 presentations this coming quarter. We're likely to surpass 700 families protected, this coming quarter. And by the end of the year, we should be touching, between 3,000 to 4,000 presentations per quarter, okay, and between 1,000 to 1,200 protected per quarter, by the time the year ends. So I can tell you that all the things are pointing in the right direction. You are at the right place at the right time, the right leaders to help you achieve your goals. It's nice to see individuals winning awards. Once again, William, great job for February. My apologies that wasn't announced. Sometimes, even the Oscars get it wrong. You guys remember when the Oscars announced the wrong Best Picture? I don't even remember that. You remember that? Like on stage, they give the prize to the wrong movie, right? And then like 5 minutes later, they say, "Never mind, you didn't win," right? It's they.
Steve Harvey giving it to the wrong country.
What's that?
Steve Harvey doing the what was it, Miss Universe?
Yeah, Miss Universe.
Wrong country.
Oh, that happened too. I mean,
Yeah, that's if you ever get a chance to watch Family Feud, every so often it comes up.
Right. Actually, I do remember that. I do remember that. Yes, Steve Harvey giving it to the wrong girl. Yeah. I remember that. Well, listen, but great job last month. My apologies to you and Ifra, actually, for not making that announcement. But again, it's nice to see, Rookie of the Month awards being announced and all the honorable mentions. Once again, congratulations to all of them. It's good to see that, we have more and more recognition because of the job you're doing, And my hope is that we're going to recognize twice as many people at this time next month, okay, for more awards, as more of you continue to rise in your, continue to see a rise in your production, continue to see a rise in your confidence, continue to see a rise in your results, and when those things take place, only good things can happen. So what I'd like to do right now, as we are kind of short of time, we want to go quickly over the PMP report. This is going to be a crash course version of the PMP class. I'm going to ask everyone to please pull up your PMP report. If you don't know how, you need to know how. Ask your manager. If not, those of you who may only have a 1 or 2 weeks of tenure, we sent out a PMP report sample. We sent out a sample for everyone to view. Okay, so we sent out that sample. Obviously, this would be for someone like Brenda. You can look at the sample. Malka, you can look at the sample. Michelle, you can look at the sample. Rana, you can look at the sample, right? So that you have something to follow. Okay. Then the rest of you should have your own. The same with Madavi. You can look at the sample. Jan, you can look at the sample. Arezu, you can look at the sample. Virginia, you can look at the sample, so that we can have something to follow there. So I'm going to give everyone about a minute to pull up your PMP reports or the sample PMP report, and then I'm going to start this meeting, and we'll try to get it done just in time for Mike Russin, who will join us at 12:30. So all right, so this is the by the way, folks, oh yeah, the chat room is open. All right, perfect. Everybody got it? Thumbs up. Thumbs up? Okay, perfect. All right, so let's go over this. First of all, the P&P report stands for Progress and Persistency Report. And we have exactly 32 minutes before Mike Russin goes on. So let's get this done. It stands for Progress and Persistency Report, okay? And it just tracks the quality of your business. It is one of the most important reports you're gonna have in this company, and it's produced every month at the end of the month, in which we analyze our net results. So the gross and the net results. So there is, first of all, what you know, there's 5 front-end areas of lost business. 5 front-end areas of lost business. On the report, they're actually listed from left to right. So you see declines, withdrawn, incomplete, NTO, and cancellation as of issue, okay? So these are the 5 front-end areas of lost business. So from left to right, let's go through these together. So the first is declines. Declinations, and the target percentage that you want to have before we go into the areas of loss is 90%, okay? The target of areas, the target of business loss is 90%. That doesn't mean you're going to lose 90%. That means that you want to only lose 10%, okay? So a 10% net to 10% loss, it'll give you a 90% net to gross, all right? So let's review the first one, which is declinations. Declines should only be 2% of your business. So 2% of your business should be declines. Now, as an agency, let me just look at our number quickly. As an agency, I believe we're at 3%, if I'm not mistaken. And that's not bad, to be honest. 3% doesn't mean it's a bad number. But we could be at 2%. That's the reality, you know, and being at 2%, of course, is better than being at any number higher than that, right? So let me give you the exact number for our agency really quickly. I'm just going to pull up the report here. Yeah, our agency is actually, yeah, I was right, at 3%. Let me just write these down. 3, 6, 3, 4, 2. Yeah, there we go. Let's get back to these here and take it from there. All right, so let's get back here. So now at declinations are at 2%. We're currently at 3% on this number. Now, what we do to prevent declinations is the following. These are the action items for us to do when writing business that will allow us to prevent declinations, okay? So first is review and use the field underwriting flash sheet. You should all have a copy of this. Actually, you all have it. It's part of your e-app, but you should also have the laminated version. I like to have the laminated version, but again, this is available on e-app. If you like to get this, you need to come to the agency or have Claire send you one, okay? And this is what tells you right away who can and who cannot buy life insurance. So if somebody hits this sheet, if there's a condition they have that is listed on the sheet, then you ought not to put that person on an application. For example, if I talk to someone and it says here, you know, and they tell me that, well, they had cancer, unfortunately, and it is acute leukemia diagnosed within 5 years, it has an X on the L, which means you should not insure them for life, okay? In other words, if they hit this list, don't even put them on the application. Now, when should you know if they are or they hit this list? Obviously, when you're doing your needs analysis. So in other words, before you actually show them the T and the benefits, you should already know who you should be and who you shouldn't be trying to sell, okay? So the first is review and use the field underwriting flash sheet. Obviously, the next one is the needs analysis. You know, when you're doing your needs analysis questions, make sure you're asking the questions and you're actually field underwriting the applicants, you know. Don't just browse, don't just say, are you healthy? Yeah, I'm healthy. And then you later on get to find out in the application, well, hang on a minute, you know, I just take some pills, but I'm healthy otherwise. You know, I got a little bit of blood pressure, but I'm healthy otherwise. I got some cholesterol issues, but I'm healthy otherwise. I take insulin, but I'm like controlled. Don't worry about it. I'm controlled. I can tell you that a lot of the times, these folks that have a lot of conditions, first of all, they're easy to sell because they're hopeful they're going to get coverage. And the fact is that sometimes they shouldn't even be put on the app because they're not healthy enough, right? So, and make sure you're asking the question, when you get to the needs analysis, the right question is there any history in your family, or do either of you have any of the following conditions? I repeat, is there a history in your family, or do any of you have any of the following conditions? So make sure that you're asking that question like that verbatim to get the information. Of course, trial applications, a trial application, we use this whenever we are not really sure. In other words, they're not as bad as a condition on the sheet, but they're kind of borderline, and here's a very simple rule of thumb that you can follow. If they have 3 or more conditions, we should probably be trialing the case. In other words, if they have a history of heart condition, and high blood pressure, or let's just say diabetes, high blood pressure, and cholesterol, let's just say, we should probably be trialing the business. Sometimes it's a combination of factors. Sometimes, there's also the height and weight chart on the other side of this. Okay, if they are, let's say T4, and higher, with blood pressure, we should probably be trialing it. In fact, there's a rule here. That if they are T6 on the weight chart, T6 with any diabetes, even if it's just pills. You know how some people take insulin, so other people take pills, right? The ones that take pills usually take liberide, metformin, glycide, right? Let's say somebody has diabetes type 2. So in other words, they just take oral medication, right? No insulin at all. But unfortunately, they're T6 or T7 on the weight chart. You actually can't insure them. You see? So sometimes it's remembering the rule, okay? Here's another rule. I need you to write this down, by the way. The next one is really important. Insulin diabetics cannot qualify for the A71000. I repeat that. Insulin or ADB for that matter, okay? Insulin diabetics cannot qualify for the A71000. So let me tell you how easy it is to mess this up. You meet husband and wife. Husband is healthy, or wife is healthy, husband is not. Husband's an insulin-dependent diabetic. You showed them the A71000. They really love it. You forgot about the rule. You sell them. The policy gets issued 4 weeks later, 6 weeks later, home office says, John cannot be covered. Here's an amendment saying we exclude John from the policy. How do you think they're going to feel?
They probably cancel.
Who agrees with William? I agree. Now, really, whose fault is that? Is it the company or the agent?
The agent.
It's the agent for neglecting to, first of all, the right thing to do there is not to even put the A71 on him. In fact, the right thing to do there is probably not even to show an A71. Am I correct? Why are you going to show an A71 if they're not going to even qualify, if the main insured is not going to qualify for it? You see? This is part of field underwriting. And of course, it says they're common sense folks, Now, I understand that, we are operating our business from a different, differently as opposed to when we visited people in their home, right? I'll give you an example of what I mean, okay? And this is where, there's nothing we can do about it, right? It was possible before to determine someone's insurability by simply doing a visual analysis. What I mean by that is that if I entered a home and it was visually obvious that the person would have been off the weight chart, right? I could have made a decision a lot sooner about whether or not I could insure that person. Is that a fair statement, right? Now, I can't do that on virtual because I'm only seeing, from the shoulders and above. You see what I mean? So it's happened to me where I had to auto decline individuals at the time of the application because it was revealed to me, for example, what was the actual weight of the applicant, right? So, it was unfortunate, but I had to do it like that. And then what you have to do is you have to pivot to the products that they can qualify. Now, let me tell you something about one product in our company, and that is the cancer plan. Okay, our cancer plan is not only do I believe it's the best cancer policy in the world, okay, and I'm not just saying that, I believe that because I've looked at other cancer policies from different companies, okay, and it's the best. Number one. Number two, our cancer policy, how many questions do you have to ask people if you want to sell the cancer plan? Only one. Only one question. And that is, have you ever had cancer before? Correct? If they answer no to that question, they can purchase the cancer policy, the C10. Okay. Now, do you realize that there could be people that answer yes to everything else, but no to cancer, and they can still qualify for a cancer policy? So, for example, somebody who had a heart attack, someone who had a history of stroke, diabetes, any other issues, heart conditions, okay, any other problem, multiple sclerosis, lupus, any other condition that would disqualify them from life insurance, as long as they've never had cancer before, they may qualify for our cancer plan. And here's what I found happens. How many of you believe that people who are uninsurable know they are uninsurable? Raise your hand if you believe that. Most people will know that, right? It's pretty common sense, right? Like they know, they may have tried already. They may have applied and gotten declined, a lot of factors, right? Well, I can tell you this much, okay, that many times when you simply pivot to a cancer policy, they're going to say yes really quick because they realize they can get this coverage, okay? So again, that's how you avoid declinations, by utilizing these strategies. Trial applications, common sense, be diligent in your needs analysis, and review and use the field underwriting flash sheet, okay? Moving on, again, we talked about this already. Here's your needs analysis, asking those questions, making sure that you, and also making sure that you remove people from the family that may not qualify, and maybe rethink your T presentation. If there's a product that disqualifies one person, then don't put that product on the offer. Switch it to a cancer policy, all right? The next is withdrawals. Now, withdrawals are basically cancellations. Now, the reason we call it a withdrawn is because they withdrew the application while it was still in underwriting. That's why we call it a withdrawn. This happens due to several reasons: buyer's remorse, overselling, lack of cementing the sale, answering, or it should say they're not answering all questions clearly, perhaps not giving a follow-up call or sending a thank you card, not completing the 3-part summary sheet, and what comes next. Now, here's what I'll tell you, folks. Every single one of your applicants will be contacted by the home office. The home office will call them from a 254 area code. So please let them know that they're going to be verified. In the verification, they're going to ask them questions about the coverage they purchased, about their beneficiaries, and many other details. Prepare your client for that. Really important step, okay? Also make sure that, it says here, lack of cementing the sale. Let me tell you what, what can happen sometimes when we don't take our time cementing the sale, or we're too worried about our next no-show, okay? When you are closing with someone, take your time. Don't rush thinking that my next client is waiting for me. First of all, let me ask you all a question, right? I got to bring this to, a place of an analogy that we can understand, but this is not even an analogy. This is just a comparison of a different situation. How many of you have booked an appointment with a specialist and were made to wait half an hour, 45 minutes to see that specialist, even though the appointment was at a certain time, and they actually made you wait 45 minutes to an hour, right? Okay. Now, I know we're not specialists in the medical field, but let me tell you, you are insurance specialists. And yes, the premise is very different because we have to, perform a presentation, a performance for us to get the business. But the benefit of what we do is so great to families that when you're actually in the process of closing a sale, don't think about your next appointment at that moment. Think of doing the best possible job with the one you have in front of you. Does that make sense? Because what makes you think the next one is even insurable anyway? What makes you think the next one, just because they showed up on time, and you know how you get that email from Zoom that tells you that somebody's on your waiting room? You know what I'm talking about, right? Don't stress about that, folks, because if you're closing someone and it's taking you a little longer, okay, just make sure that the one you have is done properly. Here's what I usually say at the end sometimes, and this is my version of what I call the, I call this the asset test. And the asset test is basically shaking that deal so that if it falls off at that point, let it fall off at that point and not later. So I will say something along these lines. I will say, John and Mary, what you guys did today is you guys made a really important decision. However, it's only good if you do this and you keep it. Because if you don't keep this, okay, it's not going to do what it's meant to do for your family. In fact, one of the worst phone calls we have to answer in our business is when someone contacts our agency asking for someone's life insurance or coverage, and we have to let them know they canceled it, and then they say to us, "Oh my God, they just died last week, and they found the folder." How horrible is that? So John, Mary, are you guys comfortable with this? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and process your application, and then that little nudge at the end of the presentation sometimes makes them realize that this is something important, and that at the end of the day, when a family has the protection in place, when the time comes, that's really what really matters at the end. The worst legacy we can leave behind is that of a lapse policy. So make sure that you are cementing your sale. Make sure that you are answering all questions clearly, and don't worry about your next appointment if you have one that you're closing at that moment in time. I think we have Mr. Michael Russin just joined us. He joined us early, of course. Michael, are you there? False alarm, I guess. No, not yet. Okay. All right, we'll continue.
He just texted me for the meeting ID again, so I'm going to send it to him right now.
I let him in, yeah. So.
Okay.
I think maybe he just let him know that we're doing our P&P report, but it's the same meeting room, right? So we timed it at, so we would end at 12:30, right? So again, buyer's remorse. Sometimes, overselling buyer's remorse. Let me tell you a little bit more about this. Our average ALP per household, as you saw earlier, it's about $1,000 ALP. Can it happen that sometimes you're going to have bigger sales? Yes, it can happen. It's cool when it happens. I'm not saying it's not. Okay, it's nice to have $2,000, $2,500, $3,000 ALP sales. Will that happen often? It's not supposed to happen often. Okay, the average ALP per household is going to be between 900 to maybe 1,100 ALP. Okay, now here's what I'll tell you, right? With bigger sales, okay, we have to be even more careful that it doesn't become a case of overselling, okay, because then they're so fragile, those deals, whenever they go through the process, right? So in some cases, I would advise you probably not to say that you shouldn't be selling $2,000, $3,000 cases, but just be careful with those, because if they fall off, they hurt more than what they help. You see, the average is still 1,000 to 1,200, and sometimes it could be a mistake that was made at some point with that case. And if they cancel because of a mistake, I always question, whether or not they were just waiting for a reason to cancel. So overselling can occur, whenever there is too large of a case, being purchased, right? And then of course, buyer's remorse. Sometimes people regret buying something, you know. I could be also interference, a family member run interference. You know how every family has someone that knows it all, right? And maybe that person kind of talked to that person and made them realize that you don't need this or you don't need that. And so suddenly they're the ones calling and contacting us to cancel, right? So sometimes, you know, these things happen, recognize when they happen and just learn from it, move on. But again, we need to keep withdrawals at 2%. We're currently, you know, at 6% withdrawn. We can do a lot better when it comes to this. And sometimes, you know, withdrawn case, if it has an IP code on ICM, if you see an IP code that's an NSF or an invalid account, that just means that, you know, the company couldn't take the money out either because the account information was wrong, or they went in and there was non-sufficient funds. Those get redrafted automatically, the NSFs, within 7 days. The IP IVN, which is the invalid account IP, that one actually has to get updated before they can redraft, right? But those are basically the cases when it comes to withdrawals. The next section we have is incompletes. I believe Mike Russin is now with us. Mike, are you there?
I sure am. Whenever you guys are ready, I'm ready. So keep doing your thing.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much. Yeah, we should be ready in another 10 minutes and then we'll spotlight you to get it done. So the next section, folks, we have is incompletes. You know, incompletes are, I can tell you right now, are the most hurtful way to lose business because the client never canceled. Okay, there was never a cancellation request. We're currently at 3% incompletes. We should be at 1% or less in incompletes. Now, let me tell you when it happens. It happens when home office does not have all the necessary requirements to underwrite the policy. Now, I want you to understand that ever since we went virtual, home office has made a lot of concessions when it comes to, you know, requirements for underwriting, such as the oral specimens. You know, we used to have to get an oral specimen with every non-tobacco user when we were in the home. We don't have to do that anymore, obviously, because we're doing virtual, right? So that's one concession. But there's a lot of other things that you must understand home office needs in order to assess the risk and issue a life insurance policy. And they're typically going to give themselves 60 days or sometimes as much as 90 days. 90 days. We sent out last week, I'll give you an example, the COVID guidelines. Do you guys get that document? The COVID guidelines, if somebody has been tested and all that. So you need to review that. Again, that would be more on the decline side, not on the incomplete side. But make sure that, first of all, if they answer yes to any question in the app, that you complete the questionnaire to which they answer yes to for a condition. Don't leave that questionnaire blank. EAP, for whatever reason, still allows blank questionnaires to be submitted. It shouldn't be the case. If you have a questionnaire that is to be submitted with your EAP, make sure that all the questions on that questionnaire are answered. Also, you know, you get a Wednesday bulletin from our agency, and that is basically Claire sending out to you a notification from the underwriting team letting you know that they require your assistance to underwrite a policy. So, you know, common example of that is, you know, home office needs to contact the client. So I'll give you an example. You know, there's questions, and this is not the verification team, by the way. This is a separate team. There's the verification team, okay, which is the QAC team, and there is the underwriting team, the customer relations team. They're two separate teams in the home office. The verification team typically calls right away when an application is submitted. Within 5 days, they contact the home office, okay? They are contacted from the home office. The underwriting team, that happens after. And, you know, there's several steps, you know, before it actually goes to the customer relations team. Now, often they say you can have the client call us and answer the questions. So here's the number. Please write this number down, because this is the number that they can contact home office and actually answer the questions themselves. So it's 1-800-411-8808. 1-800-411-8808. This number is open to take calls from 8 a.m. to, I think it's 8 p.m. or 7 p.m. our time. I think it's 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Okay. Eastern Standard Time. So anyways, it's open late. Okay, is what I'm trying to say. Don't call this number yourself as an agent because it's not a number for you to call. It's a number for clients. Make sure the client has their policy number. Okay. And you know, they can call and answer questions. Okay, so sometimes you can eliminate a bulletin by having your client call this number. What I've done in the past that works for me is that I get the client on the line, okay, and I three-way the call, okay? And by three-waying the call, I basically make sure they're connected, they answer all the questions, and they get it done, okay? So that's another way to make sure that that gets done. The next thing on incompletes is, you know, medications. This is another thing, you know, when you're listing medications, you know, here's how to do it wrong. This is wrong, and I've seen it done. And please don't do this because it doesn't really help the cause when it comes to underwriting. You know, sometimes you add the extra medical information form, and here's what we see sometimes, you know, we see 10 mg, you know, and we see Crestor. That's all we see, 10 mg Crestor. So you're giving the dosage of the medication. So this is actually the dosage, right? And you're giving the name of the medication, right? But you're failing to give the frequency in which they take the medication. And most importantly, what is the medication for? Here's why that is important. You know, there's many medications that are used for multiple ailments. So sometimes people may take this drug for this reason, and other people may take the same drug for another reason. You guys know that? Know about that, right? So you have to be specific as to why they're taking that medication, okay? And I would always add an extra note. You know, I would say under control by medication or has been on this med for these many years. Let's just say if it's out of a questionnaire. Now, if it's within a questionnaire, it's going to ask you for the name of the medication, the frequency of the medication, the dosage of the medication, and of course, what the medication is for. So when you're completing a diabetic questionnaire, then we know obviously it's for diabetes, you know, but make sure that you do not leave that information blank, or you fail to provide that information. Understand something, folks, that you are the eyes and the ears of the underwriting team, okay? Whatever information you gather, especially now that, you know, they have made a lot of concessions when it comes to virtual, and it's kind of scary to think that they still allow everything for us to do everything virtually. To be honest with you, I'm grateful to them. I'm very grateful to them because, you know, I mean, I've been in the company for, you know, a long time. I've seen how much has changed in 18 years, but the truth is that, you know, it's great that we're able to do this virtually, but let's not take that for granted in the sense that, you know, we have to do a good job when it comes to field underwriting and providing the information they need so that they can successfully underwrite a policy. And again, home office, the underwriting team will allow extensions. So for example, if there is additional information we need, like let's say from a doctor, and we're not, you know, getting a fast enough response from the doctor's office, we can ask for an extension. And then they will allow us another week or 2-week extension to make sure that we receive the APS, which is the attendant physician statement, so that we can properly underwrite the policy. So, but as long as we're communicating, and again, Claire at the agency will always make sure that you're receiving your bulletins, okay? Check your bulletins, make sure that you know what you need to do. If you're not sure what you need to do, contact your SA, your GA, your MGA, or me to make sure that we tell you, okay, this is the action item you need to do on this specific case so that the bulletin gets removed. But let's make sure that, you know, we are proactive when it comes to these things and not reactive when it comes to these things. Really important. You know, we have always maintained in this agency a high level of quality. This is why many of our people collect renewals a lot sooner, to be honest, because we preach quality. And here's the best thing. I'll tell you this right now. I mean, there's ways to learn this. Usually, pain is one of them, right? Wait till you lose your bonuses and they reduce your advances, and you're going to pay attention to quality a lot more than ever before, because once it starts to affect your pocket, okay, and here's a record I don't want anyone to break. Back in 2008, 2009, okay, I was an MGA. My team was writing 1.3, 1.4 a year, and I did not get leadership bonuses for almost 7 months. Okay, it was painful, and my leadership bonuses would have been between $15,000 to $18,000 a month back then. Okay, let me tell you, I promised myself I will never ever lose quality again, because that was just too much money. I mean, I could have put a down payment on our property with that. Never mind, I could have freaking bought another property with that much money back then. At least, there was condos going for $180,000. Not anymore. You can only buy a washroom with that these days in Toronto. But truth is, right, that it forced me to pay attention to it. And now I've become so driven when it comes to knowing what's happening with the quality aspect of what we do, because it's about the renewals, folks. The back end, is really where the long-term gain is in this business. The renewals and what sticks to the books. So based on that, folks, we're almost at 12:30. So I'm gonna hand it over to Steve, and then Steve is gonna give us a brief introduction of our speaker. I'm very excited today to have yet another guest speaker here at BP Agencies. And anytime this happens, it's an opportunity for us to learn and to gain. Individuals that basically do this, they're basically giving their time and making a deposit of knowledge, so that all of us can be better tomorrow. So before I hand it over to Steve, I just want to say, Michael, thank you very much for talking to our agency today. I really appreciate it, and I hope to meet you soon and get to know you, man. So I'm going to hand it over to Steve. He's going to do a brief introduction. Steve, I'm going to make you the host, and then you can spotlight Mike right after that, okay? You're muted, Steve.
Number one quote of 2020, you're muted, right? Awesome. Russ, thanks again for doing this, brother. Definitely appreciate it. Mike is a guy that I forget exactly where we first connected. I don't know if it was a speech at 301 that you did in 2019 or
301.
It was 301,
Yeah.
right? And, I've kind of followed, Mike's career since then. I'm a huge Arius follower on their social media, and the Grindcaster. Mike's dropped a ton of fire on these things, and really just looked at the results, that this guy's been able to accomplish, and someone that's really admired and kind of looked up to. And I said, if this guy's doing so many things right, like, this is someone I kind of want to try to be friends with, actually, and learn some stuff from, right? So what could he possibly bring to my life, that, could help me achieve my dreams with us too. So saw Mike at 7 a.m. this morning, actually, on our, he does a spiritual call at 7 a.m. I attend that as many times as I can, right? So this guy is in tune. He's up early, mind, body, spirit, philosophy, ready to get the day going, right? He's a pretty humble guy, so I'm going to toot his own horn for him for a little minute, because he'd never be the one to say that. But, Mike is currently a vice president of Arius Agencies. And I think the true measure of a leader is one that produces other leaders, right? You can't just lead a huge team, which he has. This guy has duplicated or triplicated himself a million times. 3 RGA promotions and 15 MGA promotions. And I believe you did $5 million in your RGA deal last year. And you and your brothers opened up a satellite in Portland, right?
Yeah, Portland, Maine.
Beast, man. Beastly stuff. So this guy's got the stripes, folks. So, I mean, again, man, I'm super appreciative, that you take the time to talk to us for half an hour. And, no one achieves this degree of success, like Michael has, without, of course, going through their fair share or even unfair share of adversity, like many of us have in life and in business. So that being said, I'm just going to leave the floor to you, my man. It's all you.
Spotlight, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you, champ. I appreciate it. I caught wind that your nickname was the champ. So the champ, thank you. I appreciate you, man. Can everybody give me a thumbs up that audio's okay? Good deal. So I paid Steve to say all those nice things about me. All right. So don't think too highly of me at all. Most of it's not true. No, I'm just kidding. So it's good to see all of you today, your bright smiling faces. Happy Monday. Man, I'll just tell you what, one of the ways I like to start my days, I like to just reframe my perspective and remind myself that we're part of the best opportunity, like literally the best opportunity on the planet. I mean, there's nothing like American Income Life. There's nowhere to make money, nowhere to make an impact that's better than what we have right here and now. So if you're sitting there and things maybe aren't going your way, or you're not having the week, or didn't have the week that you wanted to have, just remember that you're part of the best opportunity on the planet. You guys are in one of the premier agencies in the company, led by Byron. So, I'm just so excited, and it's such an honor to speak to you guys. And I'll tell you what, I got to pause real quick. All right, before I get into this, what your SGA, Mr. Byron, was saying here. Pain is one of the ways that you can learn. I love that, because I have been in retention myself. I've lost bonuses for a year myself. And I'm telling you, everything he was saying today, the business that stays is the business that pays. So make sure you're all over your back end. Make sure you're taking care of your quality, because the last thing you ever want to go through, I promise, and one of the worst lessons to learn in this business, I promise, is retention. That's literally the worst thing ever. Imagine doing all this work and seeing bonus money just go down the drain. You don't ever want to be in that situation. And it sounds like you guys got the right leadership to make sure that you don't end up there. So just make sure, I hope you guys were taking notes today, because that was good stuff. But let's get into it. Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about today. My delivery can get a little intense as I speak and I get fired up. I'm not yelling at anybody here. I'm just a passionate person. All right. So just allow me, if I have your permission to be me, I promise I'm not like yelling at you or anything. I'll try to keep it right here, even keel for you guys. So what I want to start with today, I want you all, I don't want to do some of these goofy exercises and like all that stuff. This is real. Okay. This is real. I want you to think about your morning. Real quick, okay? Day after Easter, Monday morning, maybe a holiday hangover. I want you to think about what you did this morning, just for a second. Now, let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. If you were to repeat that, what you did I'm not talking about your ideal morning routine. I'm not talking about what you should have done. What I'm talking about is what you did today. If you were to repeat that for the next 500 days, 600 days, 700 days, 1,000 days, let me ask you a question. Would you be better off or worse off than you are right now? Maybe you woke up and you hit snooze. I know there's people on this. I'm speaking. I can feel like the conviction of the Holy Spirit here right now. I know somebody's hit snooze this morning, right? Did you hit snooze this morning? Did you maybe skip breakfast? Not because you're intermittent fasting, but because you were rushed. Did you wake up a little bit late? Did you not get a good workout in? I'm not saying that you got to power lift 560 pounds. You go for a walk. Did you get a stretch? Maybe some yoga, something like that. Did you pour into your mind? Did you pour into your spirit, however that looks? Let me ask you those questions, because if you didn't do those things and we were to replicate your morning routine for the next 1,000 days, you're going to be in a very uncomfortable position here in the next 1,000 days. You're going to look back 1,000 days from now and you're going to be farther behind than where you are at right now. Why? We are the sum of our habits, of our routines that we engage in daily. Remember, growth doesn't happen in a day. It happens daily. Let me ask you a question. How many of you on the screen have kids? Raise your hand. Anybody ever done that thing where you put them up against the wall and you draw a line when they're a kid, and then a couple months later you do it again, and then a couple months later you do it and you get to see them grow? Well, you might start off 1 month and do it. 90 days later, the line might be in the same spot. 90 days after that, it goes up a little bit. 90 days after that, it's still in the same spot. 90 days after that, it goes up a little bit. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you do it while they're 4 and you look back at 4.5, you're not going to see much growth. But if you do it when they're 4, how many of you have done this? And you look back when they're 8, holy smokes, they shoot up, right? You're like, where did the time go? How did they grow so fast? Right? Well, that's how it is with our routines. That's how it is with our habits. And that's how it is with your daily growth plan. Growth has to be intentional. Listen, change is going to happen. Growth is not guaranteed. Let me say that again. Change in your life is going to happen. Growth, however, is not guaranteed. This is something that has to be intentional. And where people give up and where people fail is they commit to a routine. They don't see an immediate result, so they quit. Did you quit on your kids because they're 4 years old and they're 4.5 and they can't put together a rocket ship for NASA and run 57 miles and 6 foot tall? No, they're 4. Well, why do we have so much patience with our kids and such little patience with ourselves? You have to have a plan that you commit to daily, that you stick to and adhere to no matter how you feel. You know, I might only be 28 years old. I'm recently married. I don't have kids. I don't know a whole lot about life, but I know about business and I know about success because 7 years ago, my car was getting repoed. I was getting kicked out of my apartment and I was dealing with all kinds of adversity in my life. This year, I'll probably make $1 million at 28 years old net. I don't say that to brag or boast. I say that because I understand how to make the opportunity here at American Income Life work. And it starts. This is what I ask everybody. I'll tell you where it starts. What do you think your most important resource in business is? A lot of people will say my leads, my phone, my laptop, especially now that we're virtual, internet. Wrong, 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 wrong. I'll tell you what your most important resource is. You are your most important resource. And if you're not pouring into yourself, you are going to crash, burn, and fail. I'm telling you, we talk about leveling up, and there's this saying that says new levels, new devils, right? Everybody says that. New levels, new devils. Real flashy phrase, right? Like, you ever played video games or anything, you at least understand the concept, like to go to the next level, you got to beat like a boss and then you get to level up. That's what life is like. But so many people focus on just that one devil that they have to beat to go to the next level. They don't focus on the fact that once you gain ground, you have to fight to keep it. I'll tell you what's more dangerous than failure in this business. What's more dangerous than failure, ladies and gentlemen, is success. Because I'll tell you what right now, a lot of you on this screen have either had success or you're going to have success, and a lot of it. You're going to make a bunch of money. You're going to impact a bunch of lives. You're going to fly through the ranks and get into leadership. You're going to get promoted. You're going to build this big team. You're going to have a bunch of production. I've seen so many crash and burn. Why? Is it because American Income Life is at fault? No. Is it because your leadership is at fault? No. It's because you started thinking you were good enough that you didn't have to commit to your daily disciplines anymore, that you didn't have to commit to the system anymore. And we get arrogant and prideful in ego. We get ego in our lives and we start to think we're just that good. It's not us. It's the system and it's our daily disciplines. And where people forget and where people lose is they gain the ground and they lose it because they don't stand and fight. It's like this in warfare. It's a simple principle. I don't know, medieval times. I'm not a historian. All right, I was a chemistry major, so bear with me. But I imagine that people fought over castles. And when people won and they killed the other people and they took over the castle, you don't just like, all right, let's melt all the weapons down and celebrate. No, you got to put archers on the wall. You got to stay vigilant. Why? Because they're going to come back and try to take it back from you. You got to fight to keep the ground. And the way that you fight to keep your ground in this business is that you stick to daily disciplines and daily habits that are conducive to growth and success. Because if you're not growing, you are dying. I promise. You might not see it in a month. You know, I might not see it in 90 days. Might not even see it in a year. I was just reading a story the other day. Real estate guy, multi-millionaire, couple cars, nice house, wife, kids, starts hanging out with this bum. One of his old high school buddies moves into town. Dude sits downstairs. This is the story, so just bear with me. Smokes a bunch of weed, eats pizza, plays video games. And the realtor starts hanging out with his old buddy. And what happens is in a month, he doesn't change. But over 6 months, a guy that knew the realtor went to visit him and he noticed he was talking poorly about his wife, which he never did. He noticed he was skipping a lot of his house showings, which he never did. He noticed it's because that dude got off his daily routines, he got off his daily habits, and he started hanging out with people with lower dreams, lower aspirations. And what happened to him? He thought he was the answer. No, it was his daily disciplines, his daily routines, and the habits that he keeps. If you sleep with dogs, you're going to wake up with fleas. Be very, very careful of the company that you keep, and be very, very careful of the advice that you listen to. If you wouldn't trade places with that person, I wouldn't suggest that you would get advice from that person. I'm sorry. When I started American Income Life, I was a dual major. I was chemistry and managerial economics with a minor in Spanish. I had great grades. I was the president of the rugby club. We were undefeated, unscored on. I interviewed at American Income Life. I had one semester left to graduate and I dropped out. Imagine my parents, dude. They lost their gourds, right? But my parents have only ever made $60,000 a year. Here I'm looking at Simon Arias and I'm looking at this 35-year-old guy that's worth millions and millions of dollars. I love you, mom and dad. Okay. I respect you. But when it comes to career advice and money advice, I'm looking at the multimillionaire. On the flip side, when I went to go get married, my parents, I've never seen them fight. They're still together 30-something years. They're awesome. They're amazing. One of the best marriages I've ever seen. If I need marriage advice, I'm going to mom and dad. I'm not going to my buddy's dad that's been divorced and remarried 4 times. You got to be careful about who you take advice from. Who's in your head right now running your internal narrative? This is why staying on your mind, body, and spirit and having systems built around those things in your life are so critically important. You know, my job to you today, really, you know what I want to do? I want to brainwash you. Yeah, I said it. I want to brainwash you. You know what? People think that's a bad thing. It's got a negative connotation. Well, what do you do when something's dirty? You wash it. You came into my office smelling like old socks and rotten milk and I hosed you up, you'd probably be pretty thankful, right? We got you cleaned up, get you a haircut, ready to go, ready to rock business. It's the same thing with our minds. We need to wash our minds. We need to brainwash ourselves. So you need to create habits and systems around your life that you engage in daily that address your mind, your body, and your spirit. Let me tell you why. A lot of people will just say mind, body, spirit, and then they move on. I'll tell you why it's important, because I will be very transparent and tell you I've screwed up in all of these areas and suffered for it in this business and in life. Your mind. What do you do daily to intentionally feed your mind? This is important for 2 reasons. Number 1, everything in the world right now is super negative. I don't have to tell you that. Turn on the news and write down one positive thing. Watch the news for 2 hours and give me one positive thing. One, just one. You ain't going to find it. You're not going to find it. Like, talk to anybody on the street. Go to the gym and just strike up a conversation with somebody. It's going to be about something negative happening in the world. You have to intentionally put yourself in a positive mindset every day. My advice to you is this: do not touch your phone first thing in the morning. Do not look at it. Don't touch it. Don't turn on the TV. Get to a quiet place and read something positive. Remember books? People used to read books, right? Wow, what a concept. Read a book in the morning that's not on your phone. Get a freaking book and open it and smell it. It's got paper. It's bound together. It's crazy. And there's words on it. You read it every morning and reset yourself. Instead of, I used to roll over the phone. The phone's never good news, especially leaders on this call. You ever just opened up your phone in the morning? It's never good news. It's never like, hey, Byron, hey, Steve, we appreciate you. We love you. No, it's like, dude, I lost my advance and this client called and canceled and this trainee no-showed and this. It's never anything good. So put your phone away and read something positive in the morning so that you can get yourself in the right mindset, because the day's going to beat you up. You're going to be forced to pour into others. If you're in leadership, it's going to be the people you're responsible for. And if you're just a rep, then it's, I don't mean just a rep. I mean, if you're just a rep right now, it's going to be your clients. Okay. You can't pour out of an empty cup. So if you start your day at E, that car's not going anywhere. You guys would never drive around on a car with no gas in it, right? You go to the gas station, you fill it up. Why would you do that with your car and not with the most powerful weapon that you have at your that's available to you. We have to intentionally make sure that we're being positive every single day, reading something positive. Also, if you do want to be in leadership, if you do want to do better in this business, if you, even as a rep, even if you want to be able to write more every single week, you need to engage in what's called the law of the lid. It's a leadership principle for John Maxwell, but it really applies to everything in life. If you want to raise your lid, in other words, if you're a 7 right now and you want to get 8 results, you need to go from a 7 to an 8. If you're a leader and you're only a 6, you're only going to attract 4s and 5s. So the way that we raise our lid is that we educate ourselves every day. If you're in the sales portion of this business, why aren't you starting your day reading sales material, listening to sales audio? If you're in leadership, how much leadership material are you studying? Oh, Mike, this is just a job. It's just a, yeah, you think this is just a job? You ain't gonna last here, okay? This is a lifestyle. And I'm not afraid to look you in your eyeballs right now and tell you that American Income Life is a lifestyle. And it's a lifestyle that'll change your life. Some of you, 3, 4 years, you know what? You know, this blows my mind. Blows my mind. People will go to college. I was one of them. Private liberal arts school. Big scholarship, still a bunch of debt, right? They'll go to college, they'll pay $40,000 to $50,000 a year to come out the other side educated after 4 years with no guarantee of getting a job. You know how many of my friends right now still aren't working in their field, still paying off student loan debt, still horribly dissatisfied with their lives? Many of them. Go to the University of American Income Life. You give this, like, people have no problem with, dude, I didn't sleep for 3 days studying for finals, and I did this and I did this 7 days a week, and I played a sport. People don't think that's crazy, but people think working 60, 70 hours a week here is crazy. BS. I'll tell you what's crazy is that having no guarantee. Give 4 years of your life to the University of American Income Life, and your life will never be the same. Ever be the same. If you go all out here for 4 years, you will make $500,000 a year guaranteed if you go all out. Even if you jog through it, you'll still make $250,000. Not even counting your renewals. You guys, there are people on this screen that 4 years from now, you're going to be making $500,000 a year. You know what? You want to get on a plane and go somewhere? You're going to get on a plane. You're going to take your wife. You're going to take your husband. You're going to take your kids. You're going to take yourself. Okay. And you're going to go somewhere and you're going to spend a week there and you're just going to swipe the card, not think about it, buy this, buy that, hotel, this, that. And you know what? You're going to be gone. And American Income Life the next Monday is going to ACH 12 grand into your bank account while you were on vacation. Why? Because I'll tell you why. You're going to get underpaid at first in this business. Do you realize that? A lot of people don't realize this. You're going to get underpaid. And it ever happened to anybody on here? I'm not going to sit here and I've had weeks when I was rep 7 years ago, 6 years ago, 5 years ago, where I went out and I put in 80 hours, deal fell off, charge back, 80 hours of work, I got $57. Now let me tell you. Now I run a couple meetings. Now I clap for people and get them amped up. I'm home every day by 1 or 2 o'clock. In American Income Life, ACH is 5 figures into my bank account every Friday. Why? I'm owed back pay for the sacrifices I made 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years ago. But now I'm getting paid back with interest, like an investment. You have to have a long-term growth mindset in this business if you have any hope of achieving your dream. Everybody wants everything quick. Everybody, that's why so many people, January 2021, if the gym was open, people showed up, they worked out for 2 weeks and you never saw them again. Never saw them again. Why? Because they showed up for 2 weeks and they ate right for 2 weeks and they didn't see any, they expected after 2 weeks and 14 bench presses to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know what? It's crazy, right? It's about consistent, disciplined action and what I like to call aggressive patience. Aggressive patience. Understanding you're going to make it. I promise. Just last. You're going to make it. You're going to get paid a lot of money and you're going to impact a lot of lives. But you're going to have to go through it. It's expensive. What you want, the things you want in life are expensive. Hey, ladies, I hate to break it to you. If you ever got a discount on a Louis Vuitton bag, it's fake. Okay? It is fake. Sorry. There's no such thing. You know why? Imagine going into Louis Vuitton and being like, yeah, can I get a buy one, get one free? Imagine walking into a Rolls Royce dealership and get like a Memorial Day discount. It doesn't happen. Why? Because you pay full price for expensive, rare items. Well, the lifestyle that you want is expensive and it's rare. So what does that make it? It makes it very pricey. There's going to be a big price associated with what, and listen, I hope you're understanding. I'm not talking material things. I'm talking freedom. I'm talking being able to, guess, you know what? Grandpa couldn't afford his medication. Guess who gets a phone call? Guess who gets a phone call? We got to build an addition onto the house so great grandpa doesn't end up in a nursing home. Guess who gets a phone call? Great grandpa didn't have life insurance when he died. We got a $5,000 overage after his retirement was cashed in. Guess who gets a call? I love those calls. You know why? That's why I sacrificed. That's why I worked. That's why I stayed in the field until 11 or 12 o'clock in the morning. That's why I drove 3 hours in between appointments. That's why I dealt with flat tires. That's why I dealt with my car getting repoed. That's why I broke your record, by the way, 13 months without a bonus. Not a good record to break. Not a good record to break. That's why I dealt with betrayal. That's why I dealt with failing to open up other satellite offices and having to go back and rebuild and moving all over the country, doing this and losing girlfriends and losing friends and all this. I dealt with all that so I could get these phone calls. See, there's alphas on this call, men and women on this call that are alphas. You were born to be the provider. You were born to be the hunter. Well, guess what? Hunting is uncomfortable. You don't always come back with something, and it's dangerous. If you're a hunter and you're a real alpha, you should want to be the provider for your family. You should, and this is the opportunity that's going to give you all that. But what I'm telling you is that there's going to be a certain degree of suffering because this deal, and it's just life in general, is going to test you to see how bad you really want it. Oh, everybody says they want $1 million. Everybody says they want an 850 credit score. Everybody says they want this car and this house. And everybody says, yip, 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 yip. They want to be the protector and they want to be the provider and they want to put their kids in the best school and they want to retire their parents and they want to be able to do this for this one and open up a kids program and donate to the church and take care of this cancer patient. And everybody wants to do that, but very few are willing to pay the freaking price. There's a price and it's expensive. Are you willing to pay it? And it's not money. It's your sacrifice. Working weekends, working late, maybe missing one of the kids' T-ball games. Maybe it's can't make dinner with the spouse that night. Like other normal people, maybe younger people on this call, you can't go out drinking with your buddies on Friday and Saturdays. Maybe there's gonna be sacrifice. But discipline and focus is this. Please listen to me. Doing what you're supposed to be doing, when you're supposed to be doing it, regardless of how you feel. Any of us can play good. Anybody can show up when they feel good. You ever had one of those days? Sun shining, it's like a movie. Birds are chirping outside. You wake up before the alarm. Like, I don't even need a coffee this morning. You're all happy. Everything's good. You got a good paycheck. All the business netted for the week. You get on ICM and everything netted, 100% net to gross for the week. You're at a 20% bonus, right? You're feeling good. Renewals are coming soon. Yeah, it's easy to get your butt up and go to work, of course. Let me tell you when it's hard. It's raining out. It's cold. It's not nice. You just had some adversity in your life, a breakup, somebody's sick. Maybe you're sick. Somebody died, flat tire yesterday. Somebody quit on your team. you had a negative net for the week, so you don't get a world's greatest bonus. Like, that's when you need to, and I was telling a young kid on my team the other day who's going through it personally and professionally, I said, that's when you lean into your routines even harder. When I start getting tested, you know what I do? I get up 5 minutes earlier. Do you think I feel like getting up every single morning? I literally torture myself. I get up early, and one of the first things I do is I take an ice cold shower, because I'm like, dude, if I beat myself up, life can't make it any worse. This is terrible. You ever taken an ice cold shower? You want to build some mental toughness, right? Take an ice cold shower. I start leaning into my routines harder, because I say, you know what, life, you might punch hard, but I punch way harder. You might hit me in the mouth, but I'm going to knock your teeth out. That's how I feel towards life. You got to get that. You got to play with that healthy chip on your shoulder, where it's like, it doesn't matter what happens. You're going to lean into it every harder. And are you going to be perfect? There's all these guys and gals that talk about, I've never missed a day at the gym. BS. I've never slept in. Shut up. You're going to have failures. You're going to have setbacks. You're going to have weeks where you weren't perfect. You're going to have days where you weren't perfect. But the idea is let's try to get to like 90%. Let's try to get to 95% and whittle away. Because I'm going to say this, and this is one of the last things I'm going to talk about, is if you want to be elite, I'm not talking to anybody that just wants to be like average, okay? I'm talking to people that want to be elite. If you want to be elite, I'm telling you right now, like in my agency, I'm competing with Matt Diolis and Justin Adams, been on stage 406 times combined. Like when you want to be elite, you're not competing. Like if there's 1,000 people, you're not competing with 997 of them. You're competing with 3 almost messed up, sickly, insane, focused, disciplined individuals. That's who you're competing with. So if you want to be the best of the best, not only in your age, this would be my advice to you. Dominate your team, dominate your office, dominate your agency, and then start going after people in the company. Come on. There's greatness on the screen. I'll get goosebumps. I can feel greatness on the screen right now. I can feel special people on the screen right now. That's my advice. Dominate your team. Are you the best one on your team? Dominate your office. If you have a respective office you belong to, if not agency, are you the best in the agency? And then once you start dominating everybody in the agency and you can look around like a gladiator, like nobody's stepping in the ring with me, start taking heads off in the company. Start picking people out in the spotlight and putting your freaking helmet in between their shoulder pads and blowing them over. Let's go. There's greatness on this screen, but you got to be competitive, because I've never met somebody great that wasn't competitive. All right, 1 o'clock on the dot. Let's go. Let's rock this week. I appreciate you guys. I got to roll. I got another meeting. Peace.
I appreciate it. All the best.
That's it.
Amazing.
Be gone.
Amazing.
Be
Yeah.
gone.
He's gone. He's gone now. Yeah. All right, folks, with that energy, let's close off with our WGBs last week. This is the list, an ever-growing list. We're going to start the bounty at $80. There was 21 people last week collecting WGBs. That is an agency record. So let's congratulate the individuals last week collecting a WGB. We got Emily Jordan Tansico with $88, Sadaf with $97, Nabdud with $107, Sepide $110, Paul $113, Christine $116, Liana $175, Akram $345, Joshia $471, Elaine $646, Fariha $683, Ifra $689, Lisa $716, Ikram $738, Stephen, combination of leadership and WGB, $1,415. And leading the way last week, Nong Pham with a leadership and WGB, $1,481. Great job, team. Awesome job. I don't have to say more. You heard enough with Mike Russin. Let's win today. Appreciate your time. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.